Ever sat in a blackout, staring at a dead fridge, wondering if you should have splurged on a backup generator? Most of us want something that just works, that we can set up without a PhD, and that doesn't feel like a money-draining experiment. If you're the type who worries about ending up with a heavy box that sits in the garage gathering dust, you're not alone. Buying the wrong power solution can turn a simple weekend camping trip into a logistics nightmare. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent the last few weeks digging into what a portable power station actually means for everyday life, pulling apart the specs, reading the handful of user reviews, and imagining how the SOLIX S2000 would fit into a typical outage, an RV road trip, and even a backyard workshop. The headline number's over 2000WH, a 10,000 cycle lithium iron phosphate battery, and 8 different outlets sound impressive. But the real question is whether those numbers translate into reliable, hassle-free power when you need it most. First off, who should consider the SOLIX S2000? If you're a homeowner who lives in an area prone to storms, or if you've already invested in a few essential appliances that you can't afford to lose, like a medical device, a mini fridge for food, or a small electric heater, the S2000 can act as a solid bridge between the grid and total darkness. It also makes sense for the van life crowd who need a dependable source to run a fridge, a laptop, and a couple of lights for weeks on the road without constantly hunting for a campsite outlet. And if you run a small job site and occasionally need to power a circular saw or a portable air compressor, the 8 outlets, 4 on the front, 4 on the rear, give you the flexibility to plug multiple tools at once. On the flip side, if you're looking for a lightweight backpacking solution that you can sling over a shoulder for a day hike, the S2000 will feel more like a portable generator than a day pack. The LFP chemistry gives you a very long cycle life. 10,000 cycles is practically unheard of in the consumer market, but it also adds weight compared to the newer lithium-ion packs you see in smaller units. So the S2000 is a great fit for stationary or semi-stationary use, but not for ultralight backcountry adventures. Now let's talk about the practical strengths that set this unit apart from the crowd. The first one is the alternator charger mode. Anker built a dedicated input that can hook directly to a car's alternator while you're driving, turning your vehicle into a moving charger. In real life, that means you can top off the battery on a long road trip without needing a separate solar panel or waiting for a campsite outlet. I ran a quick scenario in my head. You're cruising down the highway, the S2000 is connected to the car, and after a few hours you've added roughly 300 Wh. That's enough to keep a small fridge humming while you pull over for a break. The second strength is the 6 ways to recharge. You can use a wall outlet, a 12V car socket, a solar panel, a generator, a portable wind turbine, or the alternator charger we just mentioned. The flexibility is a real lifesaver when you're stuck in a rural area where the only power source is a dusty solar panel on the roof of a cabin. The solar input can handle up to 500 W, which, according to Anker's own testing, can keep a modest refrigerator running for up to 35 hours on a full charge. That number isn't just marketing fluff, it aligns with the typical power draw of a 40W 12V fridge, meaning you could realistically keep food cold through an entire weekend without touching the grid. Third, the LFP battery's cycle rating translates into a tangible benefit. You won't have to replace the battery after a couple of years. Many power stations on the market use lithium-ion cells that degrade noticeably after 500,800 cycles, which can be a hidden cost if you're counting on the unit for years. With 10,000 cycles, the SOLIX S2000 promises a lifespan that could easily outlast the vehicle you'd use to charge it. But no product is without its trade-offs, and the S2000 has a few that matter once you bring it home. The most obvious is size. At over 200 Wh per kilogram, you're looking at a unit that weighs roughly 30 pounds and occupies a space about the size of a small suitcase. Moving it from the garage to the attic for a storm drill takes effort, and you'll likely need a dolly or at least a sturdy set of handles to shift it safely. If you're renting an apartment and have limited storage, that bulk can become a real pain point. Another practical weakness is the price. Anker's premium branding and the high-capacity battery push the price into the upper mid-range of portable power stations. For someone who only needs to keep a single phone and a lamp alive during a brief outage, the S2000 is overkill.